Hey guys, it's Connor.
And Chris.
With Metal Inside Me. Today's podcast is sponsored by the Inkwell Apparel.
Show them your feet, Connor. As you can see, Inkwell Apparel is an American apparel company that puts custom designs on quality clothing and sends them to you.
That's right, they have some really cool, awesome designs. Look at some of them right here.
Mine has tentacles.
That's right. Go check out the link in the description. We have their website and Instagram page.
And without any further ado, we'll get into today's video, which is an interview with the band Zippermouth out of California.
Yes, they have a really hot new single right now, Holy Water, and is streaming on all streaming services.
So let's get into it.
All right, I'll kick us off. So my name's Connor, and this is Chris. We run a metal rock podcast and YouTube channel, and we interview a lot of local artists and stuff. And so we wanted to reach out to you guys because Holy Water has really caught our attention. And yeah, Chris, do you have anything to add?
No, that's basically the long and short of it.
Yeah. So how about you guys kick us off and tell us about your respective roles in the band?
Let's start with Jack because she's the vocalist.
Sure.
I guess I gave it away.
Yeah, I'm Jack. I sing in the band.
Okay.
Sick. I'm Elias. I play bass and I wreck my voice. I scream.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm Jaden, and I have a couple screams here and there, but mostly I just play guitar.
Yeah, I'm Eric. Sorry, there's a vacuum in the house, but I also play guitar.
Nice. All right. So why don't you guys tell us how Zippermouth came to be?
I can either me or Jack can, because well, basically me and Jack used to be in an all-girl band called Novocaine Road in high school, and after that disbanded, I was like, I still want to work on music with Jack, and she felt the same way. So, we decided to collaborate, and then Tyler has always been a good friend of mine, and he's always been a drummer that I know. So we were like, all right, let's all jam, and then it started out as just us three.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Jack, you go.
You can talk.
It was like, yeah, Jaden and I were just like jamming, and then our old band had been like offered a show, but then Jaden and I were like, oh, let's take it. So we had like 2 weeks to like get ready for the show with Tyler, and then like we just kind of never stopped from there. We just like started off like super quickly getting stuff ready, and then like it just worked out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I joined in like November or December, right?
It was something like
Yeah.
that.
I remember. Because like I had a mutual friend with the band, and like I have like me and Eric are in this other band, Pig Tape, and our friend, she like I had sent her some of our music, and she was like, hey, you should play a show with Zippermouth, and I was like, cool. And she hooked me up with Tyler, drummer, and he was talking about stuff. He was like, yeah, but we kind of need a bass player because Jack doesn't want to play bass anymore in the band. And I was like, hey, I do that. So yeah, and then I just bullied Eric into playing with us too.
Yeah. I kind of got I normally play bass, but then Elias was like, hey, there's this band. You want to play guitar for it? And I'm like, I'll give it my best effort. And then I tried out for the band one day and it worked out. So I'm glad it did.
Yeah. Very cool. So Holy Water is obviously your big single right now. You guys mind telling us about the writing process with Holy Water?
So it started out, I don't know if you want to go first, Jack, about the lyrics.
No,
or
you
okay.
can go.
Okay. So basically it started off with our drummer Tyler came to practice one day and was like, we need to write a song today. And at that time he had been listening to a lot of Don Broco and in their songs. And one of their songs that has a heavy use of cowbell. So he was like, I'm going to write a beat on cowbell and then we're going to write a song. And then this was before Elias and Eric were in the band. We had another guitarist. And let's see. And then, so he came up with the drum beat and then I came up with the riff and then it all just kind of came together. We wrote the song in 30 minutes. And then Jack wrote the lyrics. Yeah, Jack wrote the lyrics.
Yeah, literally, like the whole song came together in like one night, and it was a very natural song. Like we really didn't have to work very hard on any of the parts. It just came to us, and it was like instant. Like, yeah, this is the song.
Yeah, that song's really special to me. I feel like because that was, not to get deep, but that was like this first song we ever wrote after I had a suicide attempt in late July. So that was our first song like a week after that, right out of the gate. So I always just like feel really happy about that song because I'm like, man, if that worked, we wouldn't have came up with this.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
So you guys have been playing live out in the Bay Area. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the live scene like?
It depends, I guess, on like what bands are playing. There's like a lot of like I don't know, kind of like indie bands out here that
Yeah.
and you know, I'm not like some of them are good. A lot of them kind of follow a very like common thing. Like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. You know, they just there's a lot of that. You know, and that's cool. But it kind of makes it harder for people who are like playing like hardcore or metal or like heavier music to like break through. And I feel like we're like lucky enough to have like pulled like pretty like dope crowds to like our shows. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there's a couple really good hardcore and rock bands, but it's definitely a smaller demographic than the indie bands, which is cool too.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you've kind of carved your own niche in your local scene?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like I just wish we had more time before quarantine.
Yeah.
We were on a roll for a minute, getting, a lot of shows back to back. We actually did a show that was like, we were the only band, and then there was a bunch of like emo rappers, and like that was cool.
It was one of my
Different
favorite
vibe,
shows we
Yeah,
played.
that was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wearing a shirt from that show from Desmo, one of the
Okay.
rappers.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a sticker. It fell off my phone, but
Yeah. He
It was
sick.
nice not having to share like the gear space with anybody else. Like we could just put our
Mm.
our gear wherever we wanted.
yeah, it's true.
They were all really nice too. Like there was no like
Yeah.
egos.
Hmm.
Me and Chris have been to the inverse of that at some local shows where it was very hardcore stuff going on and then some very mediocre like rap going on that like started it all off.
Yeah.
It's very
I feel like it's more
Interesting.
often that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just as a general question, what are the major influences on you guys? And of course, you're welcome to have different answers.
All right, I'm excited. Go ahead.
Wait, should we like say each of us for each of
Yeah.
us or like?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
Sure.
You can go, Jack. I see you.
Me? Oh, okay. Well, my favorite band of all time is the Smashing Pumpkins, and I also really like Alice in Chains. I think Lane Staley's probably one of my biggest vocal influences. I really try to emulate his kind of grit and a lot of like his melody style. It's really big influence on me.
Yeah. I really like I'm super big into bands like Terror, you know, and like Bulldoze, you know, kind of like that kind of vibe. Like I also I really like a lot of like current kind of like trap kind of stuff, you know, like I'm like really big into like Trippie Redd. Like I don't know. I really like him.
Yeah.
You know, I really love Scarlord, stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd say for me, like my biggest influences are definitely like the grunge bands, Soundgarden and Alice in Chains specifically, and then also like Tool and A Perfect Circle. And like I don't know, what I do on guitar is oftentimes in Zippermouth is I'll just make like weird sounds. So I really try to like find all the weird sounds from all the bands that I like and try to emulate them in the band.
Yeah.
Totally. And I totally agree with the grunge for sure. One I'm surprised no one's mentioned yet is Deftones, because
Oh
Deftones.
shit, they're like one of my favorite bands.
If Tyler was here, he would have popped out with that.
I was saving that one for Tyler.
Yeah. But Deftones, my two favorites are Dance Gavin Dance and Bring Me the Horizon. I like every album by Bring the Horizon because I appreciate their growth. And I'm also really into EDM. I'm also into, like Aaliyah said, kind of like emo rap stuff, trap metal, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I kind of like everything that isn't, not to be the person that says that isn't country, but I'm not. Everything that
The
isn't
rest of us love country, right?
I like
I was
country.
gonna say,
it's okay to
solid,
like
bro.
country. That's just me.
Well, you guys are talking to two people from Nashville, Tennessee,
Yeah.
the country music capital, and we don't like country either.
Yeah.
Oh man. So is Holy Water part of some new music that's going to come out on a EP or something?
If everything goes to plan, yes.
Yeah.
It's been hard being in quarantine because we can't, go into the studio and work on what we've wanted to work on. But we've definitely got new music under our sleeves that we're working on as much as we can, like in quarantine, and we should be hopefully releasing more really soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We might be
There's
going for a single or something, but
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
know
like
there's
a lot of
soon,
music
maybe.
we like. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we like have recorded, and then there's a bunch of stuff that we're still like in the process of making.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of all like up in the air right now. We have a lot of stuff we want to do. It's just,
Yeah.
quarantine makes it a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I think I saw some videos of you guys recording music that obviously was not Holy Water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw some
think
pretty
Holy
dope
Water's
screaming
like-
going on.
Thank you. That's coming soon probably.
Sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in general, what is life as a band like during quarantine right now?
Difficult.
Yeah. Difficult.
Yeah. We've been like recording stuff on our own and like sending it to each other and like sending it over the band chat and be like, what do you think of this? And we like literally just can't wait until we can all just be in the same room together again and write.
Mhm.
But I think we're doing pretty well. Like I think compared to some other artists that I know that are really struggling right now, I think like us as a band, we're kind of figuring it out.
And it's nice to have like all this uninhibited time to work on our own instruments, except for Tyler because he doesn't have his drums.
Oh,
I have Tyler's drums. They're all
Yeah.
in my garage right
I
now.
have half of his kit with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jack and I, we both got them.
Yeah. But
yeah.
definitely been
I
hard.
imagine it must be kind of difficult to actually put songs together right now because it's probably, yeah, like you said, just sending individual parts back and forth.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I spend like hours and hours just like programming drums and like doing stuff like I forget to eat because I'll be playing and like recording by myself for like 8 hours a day.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's not the healthiest thing.
Yeah.
One thing that we missed out on is having band photos. Like I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, because we haven't gotten photos together as a band yet. And if we want to
Mhm.
set up like a website or something, we like are kind of frozen because we can't even
Yeah.
like have band pictures up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had a
something.
photo
Oh,
shoot.
sorry. There you go.
We had like
Yeah.
a photo shoot scheduled for like I think like 4 days after the quarantine like started, and so we had to
Yeah.
cancel that. We were like, all right, this kind of sucked. We had
Yeah.
to like throw together something for our like artist pictures. I don't know, it's
And you know
hard.
what sucks? My
Oh.
skin was really good that day too.
Always how it works.
Tyler's joining.
Oh,
Oh, what's up?
There we go.
Tyler.
So,
Let's see.
Tyler.
oh,
It's
there.
still
I
connecting,
am.
I think.
Connecting
There we
to
go.
audio.
Okay.
What it is?
What did it? Yo,
What it is?
sorry I'm late.
All good.
No, it's totally fine.
I'm always late.
Yeah, drummer fashion.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, phone falls. So what is up?
So Tyler, we'll just want to hear briefly from you what your experience in Zippermouth has been like so far. How did you join, and how's it going now?
Okay, so when I first started playing with them, they actually were in a different band called Novocaine Road,
Mm-hmm.
and they recently split up because half of their members went to college. So they got offered a show as that band, but they weren't really a thing. So Jack took the show, but then asked Jaden to play with her live. and then they needed a drummer, so then they just asked me, and then we kind of just started playing together, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And we were just talking about life in the band during quarantine. How's that going for you?
Well, I recently just picked up. I've been working on how to use Ableton to make like beats and stuff because I never really done that, but I've always wanted to. So I finally got the time to start doing that. But I've been only practicing guitar because my my neighborhood kind of doesn't let me play drum. every time, like there's one time with one of my old bands, we played for 10 minutes in my garage and like 4 cops showed up at our house and like told us we had to stop. And it was like 2 p.m. on a Saturday. And I was like, really? Like, come on. Like, but yeah.
Do you live in an old people neighborhood or something?
No, I think our neighbors just hate us because like whenever my friends come and like, you know, if we're gonna hang out and pick me, like when they're picking me up and they're blasting music, they always come out and start yelling at my friends and tell them to turn it off. It's so funny. Yeah. So I just kind of accepted the fact that I can't. Yeah. What, did they say anything?
No. But actually, no, someone did say something, but it wasn't like telling us to turn it off. They were just like checking us out. It was weird.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah. It's probably the same neighbors that called the cops on me, but but yeah.
Okay. So do you guys mind telling us a little bit about the, because I saw a bunch of videos of you guys recording Holy Water in the recording studio. Do you mind telling us about kind of just about that process?
The studio experience.
The studio experience, exactly.
Oh, yeah. It was like 90 degrees in the vocal booth while I was recording, and we couldn't have the AC on. So it was annoying and very frustrating, but I think the final product is worth it.
Yeah. Totally. We kind of recorded like, I say we made a bad call and we like recorded early when we had only like 2 songs out, I think, or 2 songs that were like fully written, and then we didn't end up using
Holy Water.
Yeah, before any of that, like the first 2 songs that we wrote, I kind of like wanted to just record really fast, and like we probably shouldn't have done that. So we kind of, one of the songs that we have right now, we actually recorded before, but we're like a lot better musicians now. So like the song now turned out way better than it did before. So we kind of just like wasted money on it.
It was an experience. We were like, all right, maybe we should have not come so early.
Yeah.
Literally a month into being a band, we didn't have a band name yet.
Yeah. But yeah, he was like, all right, what should we name what's your band name? We're like, I don't know. And he's like, why are you guys recording it? Have you even played a show yet? And we're like, no.
The songs didn't have names either. They were literally song 1 and song 2.
We called it, the new one that we're about to release is actually song 2 out of those 2. So, but we finally came up with the name of it. Yeah. But it took a while.
Yeah, like a year.
There was some arguing that happened also. Kind of between me and Jaden.
Elias never agrees with anything. No, I'm just kidding.
That's true.
Neither do I, though. Elias never agree with anyone.
Yeah. Me and Jaden are super annoying. As soon as anyone says anything, we're just like, no. That's true.
Yeah.
It's because I'm right.
I'm gonna open my blinds real quick.
Like, I got into the studio a little bit after.
More light.
The 3 of them, just because I joined later. But it was probably like the least comfortable vocal recording experience I've ever had. Because I like to, when I record vocals, I like to hold the mic. Like, because not everyone does that, and it's like not necessarily like the cleanest way to record. But like, if I don't do that, it's a lot harder for me to like get in like the headspace. So, and also like all the lights we're in like a shipping container. I'm kind of just like, all right, guys, like this is going to suck for a minute and then it's going to be okay. But
I gave him like 10 minutes to warm up too.
Yeah, dude, I was walking around like this like junkyard going, oh.
Yeah. And then we were like all in the room with you too. So there was just like 8 people around you while you were trying to like scream, staring at you like, get it right.
Yeah, I was filming him and I felt bad because I was like, I'm putting him on the spot.
Dude, it's like when you're trying to pee and someone's like standing right next to you.
Yeah.
In an empty bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. When someone takes the central urinal, you're like, all right, guys, my life is over.
It's like I'm not peeing.
That problem, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Dude.
As the as the story from the studio video goes, they left me behind. I got left in Dave's practice space. I'm not going to let the truth interfere with a good story here, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's so funny. Bruh.
So, aside from Holy Water, how does the songwriting process get split up between you guys now that you're all together?
Well, for like the first 4 songs that we have right now, we kind of already had them written before Eric and Elias joined. So
I mean,
I mean-
like my parts, like vocally, like
Yeah.
me and Tyler, like kind of sat down and just like we're like, all right, here's what's like Tyler had like some ideas like for like rhythmic stuff, like in terms of like the delivery, and then we worked on like the lyrics together and like the general tone of it.
totally. It's mostly me and Elias like at our jobs, just like listening to the songs 24/7 and seeing if we need to like add things to it.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
but I don't know. With huh? Go ahead.
No, you go.
I breathe. I don't
What?
know. I just breathe. I just was breathing.
Me too.
I don't know.
It's kind of like sometimes when we kind of write our songs randomly, so like even if me and Jaden are just like hanging out as friends, like we still jam and then like maybe come up with something cool and then bring it in, or you know, Jack comes up with something at home. Like for these songs, like I don't really remember how they all came together. I think Holy Water, we all wrote it in a day with everybody. So that song was
Tyler and
just
I work together, so we always would be at work, and then we'd be like, "Want to work on music after this?"
yeah.
I feel like a
But
lot
yeah.
of times, like how we start writing songs is we'll get to band practice and be like, all right, like we should run the set today, and then we'll get like halfway through the set, and like Tyler will be like, no, we need to write something today, and then we do. Like that happens a lot.
We also spent
Yeah.
like 2 hours just like talking about nothing.
Thanks for
That's a
calling
big
us
part
out,
of our
Elias.
That's kind of how it is.
practice, you know, as we like do some stuff, and then we're like, hey guys, we really need to like keep doing stuff, and then we like kind of pick up our instruments, and then we're like, dude, I heard that there's like this car that runs on water. Like,
And then just talk about that for years.
Yeah.
What we usually do is the main Zippermouth thing is that we'll be talking in a general area for about 15 minutes, and then we're like, all right guys, we gotta go, and then we'll like shift for like 5 feet and then talk like for 15 minutes again.
Yeah.
kind of like, bro,
Like we'll
bro,
start
hold on,
walking
guys,
to the
hold on.
car, and then someone will make a joke, and then we stop again, and then we just like
Like,
Yeah,
Eric
after
will hit us
practice,
with a,
we'll be
like,
outside of my
50%.
house for like half an hour. Usually more.
Yeah.
at like 2 a.m.
Mhm.
But that was
Dude,
not really
one of your
writing.
your neighbors have yelled at me before.
Wait, mine or Jaden's?
Jaden's neighbors.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I didn't know that.
Dude, it was so uncomfortable. Like I
Yeah.
like left a rock star on your like porch or whatever, like the energy drink. And then like I was like waiting outside because I was like, Eric, go get it. You know, because like I tell Eric what to do all the time. And then I was just like chilling in my car, and then this dude like came out of his house and was like, hey, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm trying to go home.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was awkward.
ran over to like the front gate and grabbed the rock star and ran back to the car, and there was just somebody talking to this. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, Eric, can you do the talking, please?
But yeah, that's pretty much how the songwriting goes. It's just like we just piece it together. Like we have like a draft in the beginning. We usually just kind of like jam out like a riff, or you know, just throw over some drums, throw a riff in, record it on our phones, and then just kind of listen to it for a couple months, and then just keep adding on stuff. That's kind of how it's not holy water. We got lucky with, like, it was just kind of meant to be in that moment, because that was the quickest song that we've written. We wrote that song in like 2 or 3 hours and didn't really change it at all. I think the only thing we changed was like the bridge, and that was like the breakdown part kind of going into the last chorus.
Yeah,
but it was still yeah, it was like just a different rhythm than we had in the studio. We actually like rewrote that in the studio. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a weird way how we write it, I think.
Yeah, it's just kind of whatever goes, whatever works, we do. Like, I don't think we really have like a process. It's just kind of, it happens.
I feel like we should though.
We probably should. But
Hey, whatever's working.
yeah.
Totally.
So what does the name Zippermouth mean?
Jack?
Take it away, Jack.
Jack.
When I originally came up with the name Zippermouth, it was like it was supposed to mean kind of you have the ability to choose when to open your mouth and use your words for the better, and when to shut up. And it was kind of like, I wrote it, and I came up with the name when I was in high school, and I felt like I didn't really have a voice in high school, and I didn't have control over, you know, portraying myself as I wanted to. And so Zippermouth was like a way, it was like a term that I came up with. I was like, no, I can take back like my power, my voice, and I can talk when I want to talk, and I can not talk when I don't want to talk, you know? So yeah, that's basically what it means.
I never knew that. That's so dope.
That was about like gimp suits.
I think that's what people think, to be honest.
Hey, I mean,
Probably.
you know, whatever floats your scrot, you know.
Aaliyah, bro, come on. PG, bro, PG.
All right, I'm
PG.
sorry, guys.
Oh, this show isn't PG. Don't worry.
Oh, so we can. Okay.
Cool.
So I can
Yeah, you
say
can
that.
curse, it doesn't
I'm sorry,
matter.
I didn't
Break.
ask first, but
All right. So in that same vein, so obviously the title of your band has a lot of meaning, at least to one of you. So in that same vein, I'm curious about your approach to lyricism. Is it important to you guys that your lyrics have a lot of gravity, or just what is your general approach to putting words to your songs?
Ooh.
I feel like it depends.
Like as of
Yeah,
now,
goes
or
back and
Jack,
forth.
go.
No, you can go ahead.
No, you can
I
go.
feel like-
I wasn't gonna speak for you. I just was adding.
Nah. Actually, I want to hear what Jack says first.
I mean, the way that I write lyrics is kind of whatever is on my mind, like either consciously or subconsciously, will come out. And I really try to make it as meaningful as possible. And usually that happens pretty naturally just through whatever I'm thinking about at the moment. I definitely like being abstract, which probably doesn't really come through with Holy Water. Holy Water is a very like direct and straightforward kind of set of lyrics. It's really atypical to what I usually write. But I'm not the only person that writes lyrics. Like pretty much everybody else in the band also contributes to lyrics. So I mean, what do you guys think?
It's mostly like Jack coming up with like the clean vocals for like, you know, what the song is going to be about, and then it's kind of like me and Elias adding on like extras, but that like still makes sense with the lyrics that she had.
Yeah,
so it's kind
and
of just
also
like
like
that.
yeah, and also like with like the more like the stuff we're like starting to work on now, like when I'm writing lyrics for like my parts, I freestyle it first. Like I just kind of like do something, and then because usually that kind of like channels whatever I'm experiencing in the moment, because if I like think too hard about it, I get in my own way. So like it's just feeling it out and then like making it so it doesn't sound too cringy, basically. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm all about revisiting lyrics to make them better over time. Like, because like I believe that like when you do it the first time, it's usually like the most authentic, but then you have to return to that so that when people hear it, they're not just like, ooh, that was kind of cringe. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
word.
I feel like every like set of lyrics, it has like a marination time. Like it's just gotta sit, it's gotta marinate, you know, it's gotta get better. And then you come back to it and it's like it's finally spiced.
Yeah, you got, dude, drip is temporary, sauce is forever.
Amen.
Dude, wise words, Elias 2020.
Yeah, you get barbecue sauce in your fridge. It's lasting you a lifetime.
Facts.
That is soy sauce. Dude, all right, that's funny.
Okay, so from where me and Chris are sitting, seeing your band, it obviously seems like you guys have gained quite a bit of attention on social media. I think I saw Jaden post that Holy Water has already gotten like 20,000 streams, and Jaden obviously has a very strong following on TikTok. So was this kind of internet success like a deliberate thing you guys were seeking after, or did it just kind of happen?
I mean, for me, I kind of just started building off TikTok once I realized that it could work. And then of course at that same time we were actually like in the studio when I started to like kind of do well on TikTok. So I was like, well, that's easy. I can just throw the band in there. Cause obviously the band is a big part. So, you know, I definitely have been trying to kind of guide the people that watch my videos to our band, because that's just as much a part of me as me playing over a Doja Cat song, you know? And yeah, it actually has, I think it's closer to 50,000 views, 50,000 streams now.
Oh my, wow.
Which is,
We're at like 48K.
which
right
is
now.
crazy, way more than I ever expected. I think way more than any of us ever expected. And I think Elias and Tyler should talk about their little thing with their
Oh yeah, we're dude. At 20K, we said we would get tattoos, like inspired by like our music, and we hit 20K so fast that we didn't even have time to get them because we're in quarantine. So this will be my first tattoo. I've got none. Like so.
Yeah. And I said once it got 100,000 streams, I'm gonna get a tattoo.
You're gonna get a tramp stamp, bro, and we get to choose it. We get to choose what it is. Tramp stamp.
Ass antlers. Know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's all about.
All right. Well, luckily I can't get a tattoo yet. So.
Oh,
Eric's
parents
youngin'.
Oh, you a young boy.
I am a young boy.
Dude. No, honestly,
yeah.
with the like internet success thing, to me personally, like I think it's more of like an avenue towards just like pushing the band, like. Because to me, the band, like the point of the band isn't to be successful or it's like to gain fame on the internet, but like the point of gaining fame on the internet is to like push the band.
Totally, it's a means
and those things kind of feed each other, you know, because like the more successful the band is, the more attention we get online, and the more attention we get online, the more we can like push the band. That's really cool. Like I think that's a great use of social media.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
like MySpace used to be.
That's what I was saying. I was saying
We're
TikTok's
TikTok.
the new deathcore MySpace, you know? Just like a bunch of like, you know, like, I don't know.
It kind of is though. I mean, yeah.
It kind of is. I mean, like Suicide Silence, Bring the Horizon, all those guys came from MySpace. They just like posted on there, and then everyone was like, "Yo," just kind of like their stuff. Chelsea Grin, all those bands.
Are any of us here even old enough to remember MySpace? Because I was too young for it.
Me too.
Me too.
I was way too young.
I just watch a lot of Bring the
MySpace?
Horizon videos.
My sister had MySpace.
Legendary.
I kind of got it into Tumblr. I feel like we are like the Tumblr generation.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Tumblr was wild.
I never really used it, but
Yeah, I never really got into Tumblr.
I was on there for some band stuff, but didn't last long.
Tumblr girl.
Dude, it's all about Instagram, you know? Duckface.
yeah.
It's still a thing.
Duckface. I don't even know. But yeah.
Yeah. So this is a super broad question, but just in general, what are your goals for the band? Do you have some concrete objectives you're trying to get to, or
World domination.
Yes.
Total and complete.
yeah?
Everyone's gonna know the name Zippermouth.
Yeah.
Dude, everyone will have a zipper tattooed somewhere on their body.
Yeah.
No one will know where
boy.
it is.
like, but like realistically, like for real, like what do you guys think?
Um,
I don't know.
I mean,
Like, what do you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, like, I think, 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 I think,
Like, what do you
I
guys want?
I just want to like be able to just do it and like have it be the thing that I do. You know, like I want to make at least a living off of it and just be able to dedicate like 100% of my time to the band. That's the goal, at least for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
At
second
least,
that.
Agree.
at least, at least make a living off of it. But ideally, I just want to like invent something completely new, which is like a big goal. But like, the way people will always refer to someone like Nirvana or, those guys, they kind of changed the game. It's a dream for me to like have us change the game in that way.
Totally.
Yeah, bigger dreams than right now.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I want to like
definitely.
connect with as many people as possible. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because like I feel like to me, music is what connects me to people. Like, because a lot of the time I feel like really detached from like what's going on around me. Just because it's like hard for me to get out of my own head. But when I like listen to music like from like artists that are meaningful to me, I feel like very connected to the world around me. And if we can do that for people, I think that would be really, really awesome.
Totally.
Oh,
Bring
yeah.
people together.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like, I don't know, my goals are just to like make a solid living at it, and just because I love making music, so if I can continue my life and making a living at doing something that I love, then I'd be a happy boy.
Happy
boy.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Awesome.
do you guys have any final comments you just want to say in general to let everyone at home know something about the band? Do you have any questions for us?
How long have you been doing interviews?
3 months.
3 months?
3
Oh,
months.
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How many have you done before us?
We've done three before we got to
I
you.
saw you interviewed one of the guys from was it Dillinger Escape Plan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we did.
that's
Super
awesome.
cool.
We totally went from like interviewing someone like a very small band to a medium band to the guy from Dillinger Escape Plan. And I don't know.
That's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Did you just like hit him up and he was like, yeah, bro?
Yeah,
More or
he's-
less, yeah.
essentially he's now in a much smaller band since Dillinger broke up, and I was following that smaller band and just messaged him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, this is your chance to say whatever you want.
Ooh, okay.
This is your chance to encourage people at home to get zipper tattoos across their lips.
Oh, yeah.
Stream holy water.
What
Actually
about
get, like zipper implants?
Oh wait,
let's
I
get
have
a
something to
time
say.
frame estimate on when we're gonna release the next single.
You're asking us that right now?
Soon.
Soon.
Literally, the only thing holding us back is we need art for it. So if any artists see this,
Dude, artists hit us up.
hit us up.
Yeah.
Help.
Kinda
Hey, also, I made a promise on Instagram that if Holy Water hits 60K by this Friday, I will rap the Danny Phantom intro on my story on Instagram. So
All right, now
Make
that's
that
awesome.
happen.
That's pretty cool.
not really. It's mostly cringy.
I know, I was just trying to be nice. But yeah.
My final
All right.
words are stay safe. Stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Well, thank
so
you
much.
guys for showing up. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Oh,
It was really awesome talking to everybody.
Yeah.
thank you.
You as well.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Sweet. All right, I guess that wraps it up.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks,
Okay.
Zippermouth.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a nice day.
Bye.
See you guys.
See you.
Happy
Take care.
quarantine.
You too.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See you.